The best time to catch up is now. Catch up sessions.
Welcome back. This is Catch Up Sessions with Mark Laguna, and I am back to my introspection mode. For this round, we are going to be hearing about my little to-go experience, like literally to go ferries on board a boat from Manila all the way to Puerto Princesa in Palawan, which includes a little stopover at Coron, if only for a couple of hours to see the rock formations and the busy tourists on their way to island hopping. But before all of that detail, let me start from the very beginning, of course, of this little adventure that is hopping on board and making a 28-hour ride inter-island. So I was fortunate enough to be invited to be part of what we call a supply chain immersion, brought to you by the Supply Chain Management Association of the Philippines, SEMAP, where I sit as one of the board of directors. And part of that whole experience that they curated for us is, have a conference, a mini conference on board the ship. So it is a 3 p.m. call time for a 7:30 departure on a Friday. I, of course, arrived not on time, but it was a pretty smooth boarding experience, VIP treatment and all. Climbing up the ferry, St. Francis Xavier is what was assigned to us, and then as soon as we get settled in, it was cabin assignments, and I had a state room, I think is what it's called. So it's basically legit beds, nice and firm, for two, with TV, your own bathroom, etc. So it was the pretty decent accommodations on board the ship. Because I'm not sure if you are familiar, it can also get crowded in some of the, tourist areas of a ship situation. So this is the more spacious kind. One thing about taking a boat, or even a train for that matter, versus lining up at the airport, is the whole queuing time and loading the bags, checking in, which is really the hassle of airplanes. But when it comes to boat rides, it's much like a hop on, hop off experience. Of course, you have the fancy schmancy welcome greeting by the door. You can always get a porter to bring your bags up the, I wouldn't say staircase, but it is a bit steep if you're not into climbing up. But yeah, there are comforts and pluses that goes along with a boat situation. I don't know, I should call it a boat or a ferry officially. I need to figure that out. But that was the beginning of it. And then as soon as I guess we got settled for dinner, someone had to tell us that we were already moving, for us to realize that we were. So goes that little evening. There is, of course, entertainment on board. My one of the hosts was telling us it's the closest thing to a cruise experience in the Philippines, sort of. Just because we really don't have local cruises, which I think is a brilliant idea. If you want to go mega island hopping in the archipelago, you should have a Philippines cruise, don't you guys think? I hope one day soon. But then going back, this is a passenger ferry, but also a cargo, 2-in-1, where you have your containers as well as cars rolling on, rolling off inside the vessel, plus other cargo. So it was pretty huge of a ship. Inside, on top of the evening entertainment by the huge cafeteria, you also have, and I thank the heavens for this inclusion, a coffee shop that serves pretty decent coffee at a super reasonable price. Like the large cup is only 120 pesos. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. They use Torani syrup. The beans I thought was pretty nice, and even the cup was quite decent. All in all, that's my favorite part of the trip, just because you get your espresso on board the ship. And then there are shopping options, just because they wanted to give you that Watson's experience, Miniso. What else is there? A couple of others that I don't recall now. I think Goldilocks. But I think one of the highlights of that little ferry ride is making our way to the bridge. Yes. Why is it called the bridge? I do not know. But it's basically the captain's deck, where you have all of the fancy tools, radars. You know what? I did not see those rotating things, steering wheel type for ferries. I don't think they use that anymore. But pretty nice view too, which they let us see with the binoculars and everything. It's just one of those nice little fun access to the bridge and meeting the captain. Of course, I forget now what I think it's Captain Abella, if I remember that correctly. So it was a pretty decent run, and I say that because you know what's coming up next. Manila to Coron for I think about 12 hours, and then a 2-hour stopover. Now, you would think from Coron to Puerto Princesa it'll be just a hop and a skip over, but no, it was, I guess, another 12 hours for that short distance, and that's when it started getting a little bit choppy. And what I mean by that is the waters was kind of rough. Not too bad because it's still like the height of summer, but the waves were waving. So the boat was swaying a wee bit. When you do that in the middle of a conference, it's not the most ideal, just because it's a recipe for, I guess, headaches. But we were able to push through nonetheless. It was still a pretty good discussion on board. I could just imagine, though, if you didn't have anything to do, that will be a really, really, really long time. So should you decide to venture out into a trip as long as that, you better have your book handy, your games with you, just really fun people around for good conversation, so that you can pass time while being disconnected from the rest of the world, because there was barely any internet connection in the middle of nowhere. Well, in the middle of the ocean. You, of course, can go up on the decks to see the sea and feel the wind on your face, but then after some time, you can only do so much sightseeing on the ship. You can be one with nature, yes. Those are all fun and nice, but you have to take cover from the sun at some point. And just enjoy the really, really cool air conditioning. I don't know what they have in there as coolants, but yep, it's chilly inside the ship, so bring a jacket too. Nice sunset photos on the deck. Of course, there were people around. Everyone was free to just roam. So overall, that whole fun experience is exactly what it is. It's a smooth, relatively smooth ride, despite that swaying. But I guess that's normal for a boat. Definitely one that you should do with nice company. So again, you don't get bored. But the whole, cabin situation is also a little bit charming on its own. If you are into that, apparently our event is not unique. They do have a lot of those happening, so you can host birthday parties and what have yous. There's even an option that I want to explore later on of doing an event while the ship is docked at the port for like 8 hours. You still get to do the vessel tour and just the feel, of being inside the boat, but not too far away. So you can always hop on out when it's time for you to go. To go is the name of the company that provides that service. Inter-island transfers that I would think is a lot more affordable than airplanes. It does take a lot longer, obviously, but if you have time to spare and memories that you want to share, then perhaps that's an option for you to discover for yourself. One side note of this little to-go story. It was on a weekend, so on Sunday, instead of making the tour around the city, which I have done many, many moons ago, I decided to visit the satellite church, I guess satellite branch, if you want to call it that, of Christ Commission Fellowship, or CCF, in Puerto Princesa. It was the second service in the afternoon, which started at 3, and I was there maybe around 2:40. And I stepped in. Aside from the welcoming people, there was basically no one there. And I thought, gosh, where are people? Could be late. No setup, because I think that afternoon was a time to live stream the message from the main church in Pasig, which I thought was okay, well and good. It's still like free viewing, which on one hand I can argue I could have done just at the comforts of my own room in the hotel or on the phone in a cafe. But what I wanted to share to you is there's such a distinct difference of being around people. Not so much that we were chatting or talking or getting cozy and getting to know each other, but just the presence of other people of the same belief, worshiping the same God under the same roof. I cannot quite explain, but there was a certain level of feeling like I belong and that I am home, even though it is definitely miles and miles away from home. And such is what you can also discover for yourself as you join an ecclesia or an assembly or a gathering of the same faith. So do let me know if it's something that you resonate with as well. And if you have questions, I am just a DM away. It's at Catch Up Sessions on Instagram. And I think I have a lot more coming in terms of exciting new things that I want to kick into high gear. I'll update here every now and then. So one new thing that you can discover is the Facebook page, where you have my hosting, DJ, and this podcast all in one Facebook page at DJ Mark Laguna. If you want to check it out, please do. Follow, like, and do whatever else in all of the posts that I get to share with you over there. For now, I will have to wish you a fancy time. I'm off to dinner with friends, and I hope to catch you again very soon.